YouTube, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Wit and I'm a creative. Look, in this video, I get to show y'all my home photography studio setup. But before we get into it, please make sure you subscribe to the... Are you done? I'm trying to film here. Are you done? I'm filming. Oh my God. Draco says hi, guys. Anyways, y'all, like I said before, in today's video, I get to show y'all my home photography studio setup. But before we get into it, be sure to subscribe to the channel down below. Let's get it. YouTube, what up though? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Wit and I'm a creative. And in today's video, I'm gonna be giving you guys somewhat of a tour of my home photography studio setup. Now, before we get into it, you already know what to do. Make sure you subscribe to the channel down below and make sure you hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I drop new videos, because we got a lot of interesting stuff coming up and I cannot wait for y'all to see some of these videos that somebody child lost. Hope they find them. Secondly, everything that I'm about to mention in today's video and beyond, you can add to your collection simply by checking the links in the description down below. Those are my Amazon affiliate links. So anything that I mentioned in this video, from my camera body to my lenses, to even the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 that I'm shooting today's video on, you guys can get the same exact items I have by clicking the Amazon affiliate links down below. So there you go. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Don't say I never gave you nothing, okay? Okay, so first and foremost, you know, this is my home studio. It's not anything fancy. If you feel like you need to just have a warehouse to shoot, that's so not true. I turned this little space right here in my commons area into my photography studio. I would say this space is probably a good 8 by 10 space. I mean, technically that's really all you need, especially if you're just doing headshots and things like that. Don't feel like you have to go out and get like a big warehouse or nothing like that. Start small, start with what you have and then build from there. So first and foremost, I'm gonna start with my camera body. Right here, I'm using the Sony a7 IV. This is known to be Sony's, I guess, flagship camera. A lot of people say this is the perfect hybrid camera because it's excellent at shooting photos and it's excellent at shooting videos. Now, most of my YouTube videos are shot with the Sony a7 IV, but I'm gonna be mixing it up now that I have the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which we'll get into a little bit later. But if you wanna see the quality of the videos, check out some of my other videos. Now, in addition to my Sony a7 IV, one of my favorite lenses that I love to use when using this camera body is the Sony 70-200 f2.8 G Master 2. Now, all of my lenses that I shoot with are G Master 2, and I guess it's just really like the latest edition of the G Master lenses. And I can tell you, man, like, I mean, you can see it in the photos. If you want to check out some of my photos at wit_the_shooter on Instagram, you can check those out. Don't forget to follow your girl on Instagram. I'll follow back, you feel me? Especially if you're gonna book a shoot, I got you. So yeah, this is one of my favorite lenses that I like to use whenever I'm shooting. I mean, I mostly shoot sports and entertainment media content, so the 70-200 definitely comes in handy unless I'm trying to shoot football or soccer, which I really don't shoot too much of, just because the 200 doesn't really have enough reach. But I do have a teleconverter, but we're not gonna talk about that in this video. I'm just gonna keep it home studio stuff only, you feel me? I don't use a teleconverter in my home studio, there's no need for that. But the 70-200, oh my God, is pretty much the entry level telephoto Sony lens, and I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, next we're gonna talk about some of the things that I put in my home studio for my clients when they come in and they do a photo shoot to sit down on. I went and invested in a couple of Apple boxes. I think I got a 2-pack off of Amazon. The link is in the description down below. And I painted one of them black. And then the other one, I tried to spray paint white, but it didn't really come out how I wanted it to come out. It's still kind of woodish, but nonetheless, you need something for your clients to sit on. Not every client wants to stand up and take a picture. So go ahead and invest in you some Apple boxes. I think that's a great idea. Okay, so now let's talk about lighting. So as far as my lighting goes, I have 2 strobes. They both are the Godox SK400 2-5. Those are the 2 strobes that I have. Now, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. So far, I've been using these inside of my house, so I'm able to plug them into the wall or the outlet and they turn right on. I haven't quite figured out if these strobes are actually wireless or if they have the ability to be wireless. That's something that I'm trying to figure out because they do come with extra fuses. So I don't know what that's about, but I'm not quite sure. But I will say for a home photography studio, these two strobes are amazing. They have so much power. They're 400 watts each, and that's a lot of power, especially for this little bitty space. So all my pictures come out pretty clean, if I do say so myself. Also, I want to say this, having two strobes is ideal, but you can get a lot done when you have one. So I actually started with one strobe, and then over time, as I began to learn and train some more, eventually I invested in another strobe. And if I find that these two strobes don't have the ability to be wireless, I'm probably gonna get another one, not gonna lie, because I wanna be able to do shoots outdoors. And so having a wireless strobe is gonna come in handy when you're doing shoots outdoors. Another thing I'll mention is, as far as my strobes go, my strobes are positioned on a C-stand, and I have two C-stands, obviously because I have two strobes, and both of my C-stands are black. Now, I'm not a big fan of aluminum or chrome anything. You know, black is beautiful to me, and so I got two black C-stands, and so the black ones are kind of like a rare type of thing. So if you want black C-stands, make sure you look in the link in the description down below. The black C-stands, they just really seem to blend in well with like all of my furniture in here. It just goes well. The chrome would have like stood out. It would have kind of been a distraction. You would see reflections in it. But having black C-stands is just so instrumental, man. Like, people don't understand how crucial having black hardware is in photography. It doesn't really reflect anything. So shout out to Amazon for the black C-stand. In addition to that, I have a number of different modifiers that I like to use, starting with my softbox lantern. It's not a modifier, it's more of a diffuser, but that was the first, I guess, diffuser that I ever got. Once I got one strobe, I started with the softbox lantern, and all it does is it just throws light at your subject. It diffuses light is what it does. It brightens everything, and I love it so much. Now, on to my modifiers. One of the modifiers I use is the Godox. It's just a softbox. It's kind of like a beauty dish kind of thing, serves the same purpose. But the softbox is different from the softbox lantern. It's just a regular softbox, and it just softens the light, concentrates the light kind of into one area, and it just really gives me everything that I'm looking for in a photo. In addition to that, another thing I like to use as a modifier, this is like a honeycomb grid, and it has the barn doors. This is something that I like to use. I also am able to attach color gels to this. As you can see this clip right here, I can put a color gel over this and immediately change the aura of the color to red, yellow, green, blue, white, whatever I want it to be. So this is definitely one of the modifiers that I use. This is also in the link in the description down below. Another modifier I like to use is actually one of my favorite modifiers, is the reverse umbrella. I love the reverse umbrella. Now, the reverse umbrella and the Godox softbox, they really give you the same effect, low key, they do. But sometimes, depending on what you're trying to do, I wanted to get both of them because I do have two different strobes. So a lot of times I might put the softbox on one strobe and the reverse umbrella on another strobe, depending on the lighting effect that I'm trying to get. So that's the reason why I have two different ones that sometimes can do the same thing. But that's the reason. It's just like when you're working with setups that involve multiple lights, sometimes you want to duplicate the effect on both sides. So in that case, it's necessary to have a softbox and a reverse umbrella. But the reverse umbrella for sure is, I would say, hands down my favorite modifier of all time. It's so nice. Okay, let's get into reflectors. So I have two different kinds of reflectors. I have a flat reflector that I use a stand to position it on. And I use the flat reflector on either side of the subject. If I want to bounce light off of the subject or bounce light into a side of the subject, I'll put the flat reflector out there. But then I also have a curved reflector. And the curved reflector mostly goes in the front of the subject. Say if there's not enough light underneath the subject's chin and I want to bounce light underneath their chin or put the light somewhere specific, I use the curved reflector, which also has its own stand. But those reflectors definitely come in handy when you're trying to bounce light anywhere in your photography studio. I know a lot of people think photography is just being able to take a picture, but at the end of the day, photography is the ability to bounce light from one place to another to make the picture beautiful. You feel me? So having those reflectors is crucial when you're doing portrait photography or in studio photography. I can't tell you how important it is to have at least one reflector in your studio setup. Now let's get to camera lenses. As I mentioned before, my camera body is the Sony a7 IV. That's what I shoot with all the time, anytime, wherever I go. I'm team Sony over here. So if you team Sony, shout out to you. You feel me? I already mentioned the 70-200 f2.8. Other lenses that I use in my home photography setup include the Sony 16-35 f2.8, also a G Master 2, as well as the Sony 24-70 f2.8, also a G Master 2. And having the 16-35, the 24-70, and the 70-200, that's really your trifecta of lenses, especially with them all being a G Master 2. Now, one day I'm hoping that I can get monetized on this channel and I'll be able to afford the next lens that I want to buy, which is a Sony f2.8 300mm prime lens. That joint is $6,000, y'all. $6,000. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you subscribe, because your girl needs to get monetized so I can buy that joint. Because man, honestly, I wouldn't use a 300 in a home studio setup. Honestly, a 300 I would use like in sports arenas, football, basketball, baseball, soccer, those sorts of things. So right now I'm limited to what my lenses can accommodate, which would be your portrait photography, your street photography. You can do a lot without having a 300 prime, but it's just a goal of mine, something that I want to accomplish this year. I definitely want to buy a 300mm. Don't even get me started on the 400mm. The 400 is $12,000, but we not even there yet. So one step at a time, we're going to try to get to 300. We going to, you know, get warmed up with that, and then we'll just see how it goes. But yeah, the lenses that I have are all Sonys. I mean, honestly, I feel like I decided to go with those three lenses. For one, once I shot with a G Master 2 one time, I knew right then I didn't want to use any other type of lens. Now, I do have other lenses that are not G Masters, but I rarely use them because having zoom lenses are just so convenient. You know what I mean? It keeps you from having to switch lenses on and off your camera every couple of minutes, or you're trying to keep up with lens caps and lens hoods and all that kind of stuff. When you have one zoom on your camera body that gives you all the range that you need, honestly, I mean, that's more than enough. So that's just, you know, like a little strategy I like to use in my home studio setup. Just use a good zoom lens. And most of the time, I'm either using my 24-70 or my 70-200. I don't really like to shoot wide shots when I'm doing photo shoots in the crib, you feel me? And then last but not least, like I said, I don't really use this in my home photography setup, but I will go ahead and mention the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, because like I say, that's what I'm using to shoot this video. So I gotta give the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 honorable mention, gotta give them a shout out. Shout out to DJI. I am not endorsed by them, but I will say having the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, it has gotten me some content in some places that you could never imagine. So shout out to them. I really love how compact this thing is. It shoots in 4K 60 frames per second or 4K 30 frames per second. The pictures are amazing. The quality of the media that it shoots is amazing. Sometimes people don't know whether I shot it with the Pocket 3 or my a7 IV. So shout out to DJI for such an incredibly dope product. You feel me? And then I will say this too, this is the last thing I'll say. As far as my paper backdrops, some of them I did get from Amazon, but honestly, you can get paper backdrops from anywhere. I will say this, there is a company, it's called Savage. They make very reputable paper backdrops. I love their paper backdrops. Savage is really good. I would say Savage is really like one of my favorite brands of paper backdrops. Their paper rolls come seamless. And I'm mentioning paper rolls because I don't shoot with cloth backdrops, because to me, it's too much extra work to try to like steam out the wrinkles and iron it and make sure it doesn't get creased. Like, I don't be having time to knock out wrinkles in backdrops before I do a shoot. So I make sure that I strictly shoot with paper backdrops. Now, the paper backdrops are a little more expensive than the cloth backdrops, but I'm telling you, it saves you a lot of work in the long run, and it keeps you from having to do stuff that you should not have to do when setting up for a shoot. It's just as simple as putting your paper backdrop up on the mount and calling it a day. And speaking of mounts, I did get my mount from Amazon as well. It's really a banner holder, but I use it as a mount because it does everything I need it to do. And that is also in the link in the description down below. Okay, guys, so that concludes my home photography studio setup. I hope you guys liked this video. Let me know what you liked or what you didn't like about this video, or if you use some of the same things I use. I would love to hear it down in the comments below. But before we get out of here, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. And for all my new folks, this is what I like to say at the end of every video. Y'all already know how it goes. Till next time, peace.